Let's go to Jonathan Granoff, who is our special guest, to give us his point of view.
Never underestimate the power of vision. The country that I'm from was founded on a vision that all human beings are created equal. That's a vision. It's not a self-evident truth. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Well, there are some people here who are extremely good-looking, and I'm not one of them. But we're equal. It's an ought. And when it was stated, women were not included, people of color were not included, and people without property weren't even included. But that ought has been a compelling vision for the rule of law, for the principle that all are equal under the law. In populist nationalist states, in states in which tyrants rule, the state is not subject to the rule of law. The state rules through law. In countries in which the rule of law is strong, the state is also subject to the law, thereby requiring its leaders to be transparent, honest, and accountable. Those are the differences that we're seeing for our future. In one model, there's unaccountable exercise of power, and in another model, the people, you and I, have the right to hold our leaders accountable to us. And the state is the employee, the people are the employer. The state is subject to the law, just as each individual. The second point I want to make is education on the values upon which the rule of law rests. This principle of equality is so important. And I would urge that every minister of education at every level ensure that every secondary school child, before they graduate, has a copy of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and some course material on it. Because these rights don't exist in a vacuum, they don't exist separated from community. So when you study the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, you realize that these are the rights of the person sitting next to you, and that the first duty of the state is to protect your well-being, which includes your human rights. So education on the foundation for the rule of law for the future, I think, is very important. Two more points. One is that human law must be in accord with the laws of nature. Human law must be in accord with there are laws of nature. There are laws that we create. So we have economic systems presently that are not in accord with nature. Our economic systems are based on premises of an infinite natural environment. It's not based on the systems of the climate of the planet. We don't have an option about living in accord with the laws of nature. Nature doesn't have a court of appeal. You can have plan A and plan B, but you can't have planet B. So as to the law here, I think there's a model that some of the Scandinavian states have, which is called the precautionary principle in the law, which is that if you're going to introduce a chemical, for example, in the environment, the producer has to demonstrate that it will cause no harm, rather than allowing the harm to be committed by the technological innovation, which was what fossil fuel has done to us, and then trying to back up. When there's a major technological innovation, it's the obligation of the creator to demonstrate it will do no harm. That's a principle that needs to be embodied universally in the law. And to do that, I think it's time that we created, with compulsory jurisdiction, an international environmental court and an international human rights court, because we have a human right to a clean, sustainable, healthy environment. My heart wants to share so much about this subject. But I'm just going to end with one framework that I think is really important, because I think we're threatened now with the failure of the states with the most power to live up to their obligations under the treaties that will either determine whether we will survive or we won't. Now, no domestic system could have one set of law for the powerful and another set of laws for others. It would just fall apart. It would be inconceivable. But presently, we have a set of security laws on the planet that go something like this. Well, just imagine if the Biological Weapons Convention said, no country can use smallpox or polio as a weapon, but we'll let 9 countries use the plague as a weapon. We would say that's inconceivably unjust and destabilizing. It simply couldn't work. We wouldn't accept it. That's precisely the regime we have with nuclear weapons. 9 countries are saying these horrific devices are acceptable to us, but not acceptable to anybody else. That is not sustainable. And every citizen on the planet, every citizen and every leader of states with or without nuclear weapons has an obligation to change this unacceptably risky, immoral, illegal situation. Thank you.